Hello out there, and today I'm responding to a tag from my buddy Slicey Dicey. The tag was, what are your top 5 favorite EDC knives of all time? And this is going to be possibly a very boring video, guys. For those of you who've been following the channel for a while, there are going to be almost no surprises. Everything that I've said before in the past is just going to be regurgitated today, and that's okay. I'm going to make it relatively quick. I'm not going to get into any new stuff about any of these knives because I've said it all before. If you are new to the channel, maybe you will really like this video. Who knows? But let's just get started, and we're going to get started with 2 honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is the Benchmade 940/943 platform. Any of those knives, I've liked every single one of them that I've gotten. This one right here is the completely blacked out 943, but the 940 with aluminum scales, with G10, with carbon fiber, everything that I've handled I've really liked. It's just a classic model. I do think that the 943 blade shape tends to get overlooked, and so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to hold on to one of these in my collection. Really a big fan of that. The other honorable mention is my Chris Reeve. It is my Inkosi, my small Inkosi. This has been a knife that I have EDC'd quite a bit. I've used it a lot. I sort of thought when I first got it that it could end up being a knife that I tried to protect, but it just hasn't been that way. And you can see it's getting some pretty nice little snail trails all over the place. And I actually think that it makes the knife look better. In pictures, it really doesn't. And on video, it also doesn't. But I sort of think in person, just the way the light hits it, it actually adds to the look of the knife. And yeah, so sort of glad about that. And this knife was really hard to leave off the top 5, guys, because it is one of my absolute favorite knives, and I do get a lot of use out of it. But the reason why it did get left off was just none of the other 5 could be. You know, every single one of the next 5 knives that you're going to see, it just had to be on the list. So this is the one that got left out. So without further ado, let's get started with the top 5 EDC knives of all time. All right, the first one is the Spyderco Para3. This is in no particular order, by the way. So the Para3, it's the entire platform that we're talking about here, not really just this Frankenstein version, because what we have is the a Sprint Run S90V carbon fiber scale, but the blade is from the Maximet version. So did a little bit of a blade swap. I do really like this version. I think it's very unique this way, but as a whole, just the entire Para3 line is just a big win. For me, I think the big winning aspect of it is just the way that it feels in hand. The thumb ramp and the jimping, it is ergonomically pretty close to perfect for me. And so that is what really sets it apart. Spyderco's done a really good job of giving us a lot of variations and options. And every single one of them that I've come across, and all of the aftermarket scales too. I mean, all this stuff has been pretty cool. And so, yeah, this whole platform is definitely in the top 5. The next one we'll also talk about is a Spyderco, and I'm sure you can guess it. It is the Domino. This Domino, every time I talk about it, people hit me up in the comments about it, and they say, man, I really love this model too. I wish it wasn't discontinued. Or they have some complaints about it, which I think is just odd, because I really, really like this knife. It just does absolutely everything for me. It's comfortable in hand, multiple grip configurations, good quality materials. One of the biggest complaints I think about the Domino is a lot of people have had problem with the action, with the flipping action. And I don't know if this like blue scaled version, which was a later version, maybe limited. I don't know if this version was was improved before it came out, like the flipping action was, but I've never had a single issue with the flipper on this knife. It's just been great. So 0 complaints at all about this knife. And if you remember my one knife for everything, when I had to choose the one knife that I would pick to keep if I had to get rid of absolutely everything else, this knife does it all. It checks all the boxes, and so that's why I picked it. So definitely in the top 5. All right, next we are getting into the Benchmade Bugout. Benchmade Bugout with Rogue Bladework scales, and I want to make that like perfectly clear that even though I do like the Bugout in its standard configuration, it would not be on this list without the Rogue Bladework scales. At first, when I picked up the knife, I didn't really care for those stock scales, and that's why I immediately got these aftermarket ones from Rogue Bladeworks, and I added some blue hardware from Blades We Love. But for me, that really just took the knife to the next level. And eventually down the road, I picked up another Bugout, another stock one, and I did like those scales a little bit more than I remembered, but it would not be on this list without the carbon fiber. Carbon fiber just makes it feel more substantial. It makes it stronger. It makes it look better. I think for me, it just makes it a much more versatile knife and just a much better all-around EDC. You know, there are plenty of people who are going to be very big fans of just what those really light and thin stock scales do, and I understand that for certain purposes, definitely, yeah, that's going to be a good thing. But for me and what I'm looking for, just an all-around kind of EDC, still being very lightweight, definitely does the job with the Rogue Blade Works scales. All right, next, if there is any surprise in this conversation, it's going to be this knife right here, the Kaiser Dux. And again, if you follow the channel, you know how much I like this knife. I talk about it pretty regularly. It's just a really great, simple EDC. Kaiser did a great job with this one. There is a larger titanium version, but this is the Vanguard line in VG10 and G10 handle scales. Really smooth action. Pretty close to a gent's piece. It's just simply executed and just really, really well done. I don't really know what else to say about it, guys. It sort of has the blade shape similar to me, at least to like an Ontario Rat Model 2. And it's a little bit bigger than that, but it just checks almost all the boxes, and it comes in at a pretty darn fair price. And yeah, just good for all things EDC, and one of my absolute favorite knives. And last but certainly not least, you know what it is, guys. It's the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. The Mini Griptilian, the entire line, you know I'm pretty much obsessed with it. But this one in particular, this all-black one in D2, is the one that I've used the most. It's one of my most used EDCs of all time. The other one actually is a knife that I don't have anymore, the Browse Blades Mini Bionic. I used that knife so much before I ended up moving on from it. But this knife, the Mini Grip, yeah, it's just is a good little workhorse. You know, the larger one, I've never been that big of a fan of, just the way the handle material feels in hand. But the small one, this platform is about as good as it gets for me and offers a lot of customization possibilities. But yeah, particularly if we're talking about one specific knife, this is the one that has probably gotten used more than anything else. So yeah, really like the D2. It's funny, the blacked out versions I end up with, I never seek them out, but I always end up putting the most use on black on black knives. I'm not sure why that is. But anyway, guys, that is the top 5. All right, no particular order. Like I said, we have the Mini Grip, the Kaiser Dux. We have, if I can find them again, the Benchmade Bugout, and the Spyderco Para3, and the Domino. All right, so Slicey Dicey, thanks for the tag. I appreciate it, man. I know he made it an open tag too, so lots of people have been doing these videos, so check those out. Very easy to find if you are looking for more content like this. But any other questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know down below. I'll talk with you soon. Thanks for watching, and take care. Have a good one.